All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something, well, it's pretty wild. We're looking at a set of documents that claim to have found a mathematical proof for a modern-day Messiah.
I mean, think about that for a second. Could you really use an equation to prove something as profound as spiritual identity? With the same kind of certainty as 2 plus 2 equals 4? That is the core argument we're going to explore.
Okay, so first things first. Before we can even look at the evidence, we've got to understand what the central claim actually is, and more importantly, the very specific system they're using to back it all up.
So this whole thing, everything we're about to look at, it all comes down to one concept: gematria. Now, what is that? Well, it's this ancient system where every letter also has a number assigned to it. The idea is that you can add up the values of words or even whole sentences to uncover these hidden connections and secret meanings. And you have to remember, this is the only tool being used for all the claims that follow.
So, what's the big claim here? The source documents say, and this is a direct quote from them, that they have irrefutable mathematical proof that a specific person, a man named Alex Enrique Campaign, is the reincarnation of Jesus Christ.
Okay, so how on earth do you even start to make a case like that? Well, believe it or not, the entire foundation of their argument, their whole proof, it all rests on the numerical analysis of just one sentence.
And this is that sentence. Jesus of Nazareth is Alex Enrique Campaign. The core argument from the source is that if you use gematria to turn this sentence into numbers, the value for Jesus of Nazareth is exactly the same as the value for Alex Enrique Campaign.
And this is where their evidence really starts to stack up. According to the documents, it's not just one match. They claim the value for each name is a perfect match across 3 different gematria systems: Hebrew, English, and simple. So let's break down how they see it for each one.
Okay, first up, Hebrew gematria. The value they get for each name is 2754. Now here's their logic. If you add up those digits, 2 plus 7 plus 5 plus 4, you get 18, and 1 plus 8 is 9. They connect the number 9 to ideas of completion or finality. But then they take it a step further. They split the number in half to 27 and 54. And get this, 2 plus 7 is 9, and 5 plus 4 is also 9. For them, this isn't a coincidence, it's a mathematical sign that the two subjects are the same.
Okay, next up is the English value 2424. The source points out that the digits add up to 3, which they connect to the Holy Trinity. But their main argument here is really just visual. You've got 24, and then you've got 24 again. They call this a direct visual statement, a clear sign that the two subjects are the same.
And finally, we've got the simple gematria value 404. Again, they look at the sum of the digits. 4 plus 0 plus 4 is 8. They connect the number 8 to ideas like resurrection and Jesus Christ. And just like before, they highlight that visual pattern, that 4 equals 4, which they say is another proof of sameness, noting that the two 4s also sum to that all-important number 8.
So, you might think that's the whole argument, but it goes deeper. The argument doesn't just stop with that one sentence. This next section, which they call the signature in a name, is all about how they expand this claim, creating this whole web of connections between the name Alex Enrique Campaign and tons of other phrases that all share the exact same number.
And this quote right here, this really gets to the core of their entire belief system. Mathematical equations do not lie. It is as simple as 1 plus 1 equals 2, and it is a factual, absolute truth. You see, for them, this isn't about interpretation or belief. They see gematria as pure, objective math. And that's the lens you have to look through to understand everything that comes next.
Okay, so remember that web of connections I mentioned? Here it is. The name Alex Enrique Campaign apparently has a simple gematria value of 188. And according to the source, so do all of these other phrases. Just look at this list. Of course, it connects the name to Jesus of Nazareth, but also to things like the Holy Son of God and the birth of Christ. But what's really fascinating here, and what they emphasize, is how it also links to these big abstract ideas like laws of mathematics, synchronicity, and ultimate truth. The argument they're making is that because all these phrases share the number 188, they are all, in essence, synonymous.
All right, so from here, the whole argument takes another turn.
It tries to anchor all these numbers in actual, specific biblical prophecy. The focus shifts to the age of Aquarius and what the source claims is this coded prediction hidden in the Gospel of Luke.
Now, this is presented as a real cornerstone of their entire proof. On the left side, you've got this long, specific quote from the Gospel of Luke, the one about a man carrying a jar of water. Then on the right, you have an equally specific modern declaration. It names Alex Campaign as the Moshiach of the Aquarius age, gives his exact birth date and time, and says he is the man carrying the jar of water. And here's the absolute bombshell claim. The source says that these two incredibly long, completely different sounding passages are numerically identical, not just in one system, but in both, English and simple gematria. They present this as the slam-dunk proof that the statement on the right is the literal fulfillment of the ancient prophecy on the left.
So, if this is all true, what's the point? What's the mission? Well, the source points to this other passage from Luke to really set the tone, and it's intense. It's not about bringing simple peace. The quote says, "Do you think I have come to bring peace to the earth? No, I have come to divide." This frames the whole event not as a gentle reunion, but as this dramatic, disruptive, world-changing moment.
So let's step back. What's the takeaway here? If you were to accept all of these numerical connections as fact, what are the consequences? What does it all mean for humanity? This final section lays out the implications, according to the source material itself.
Okay, so the source lays out 3 huge implications for humanity. Step 1, the end of speculation. They're saying the identity of the returned Christ is no longer something you have to believe in. It's a demonstrable mathematical fact. Step 2, prophecy is fulfilled. The second coming isn't some event we're waiting for in the future. It's a present reality happening right now. And step 3, a call to acknowledge. They're calling on humanity to recognize this truth, not through faith, but through pure logic, the same way you'd accept that 1 + 1 = 2.
And that's it. That's the argument laid out in the source material. A really dense, intricate web of numerical connections all pointing to a single, very powerful story. And it really does leave you with a fascinating question to chew on. When numbers and a narrative line up so perfectly, what actually defines a proof? And where do you draw the line between that proof and just an incredibly compelling story?